Going on, everybody? So trying out a different angle here for these movie videos, what I've watched pretty recently. I think this one took me a while. It took me a couple months just because I kept going in and out, and I think the first place I saw it was Peacock, and then it got out of Peacock. It obviously went to a different streamer. Luckily it went to Amazon, and then had to just remember where I had left off in Peacock, and it's called Asteroid City. I believe it's Wes Anderson. I always get him and Paul Thomas Anderson. Their names mix, obviously, because of the last name, but very different directing styles. And if you know Wes Anderson, it's definitely very fantastical, and the camera is usually moving that way, sideways, and the action is just happening in front, and kind of just follows it. And kind of a lot of forward and backwards too, kind of movements too, as well. And I know he's not for everybody, but the handful of films that I've watched from him I've liked so far. This one was, I think, a bit more distracting, kind of like some of his more recent ones, just because it kind of seems like a Quentin Tarantino movie now, or even some other ones where you kind of just try to get as big of a cast as you can, kind of like how Oppenheimer was the very first time, where you're kind of just, at least I was, distracted by so many cameos and stuff, but once you kind of got over that, then you saw how great of a movie it was. This one, I think I probably need a second viewing just to make sure, so I was a bit kind of underwhelmed and understood what was happening, understood the story. Maybe if some of the actors were switched up. I know Jason Schwartzman is a guy he's worked with for quite a bit, and I don't know if he was probably like perfectly cast as the main actor or main role in this one. Maybe could have went to one of the other guys in there, but it's a pretty big cast. Tom Hanks, Steve Carell, Adrian Brody, guys like that, Edward Norton, a lot of people he's always worked with. But if you're interested and you like his movies, I'd say give it a shot. But either way, I probably won't watch it again. I probably will, like way down in the future line, but not anytime soon. And as I've mentioned before, my family and I kind of always took forever to choose a movie, so we put in a small cup a bunch of post-it notes of movies that we have to choose ourselves secretly that we have never seen, even if other people have seen it in the room. But as long as the person putting it down has not seen it, then it still counts. And of course, mine got picked the other day, and it was the sequel to the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, which I still enjoyed that first one, even though it was a bit more kiddish. But this second one definitely brought it a little bit more, definitely felt more like a Pixar, more like that adult teenager level instead of the younger kid level, but obviously because the characters grow up too in the process. But I thought overall it was a pretty good story, and thing they had to do, the quests and everything like that, and the whole storyline as well, I thought was done very good. So yeah, if you're interested in those type of movies, then definitely go check it out. It's obviously more of like an animated film person type of deal. Definitely looking forward to the next film. I think there is 3 overall. There might be like another holiday special or something like that. And like I always say, it's still waiting for that live action one that should be coming out within the next couple of years. So at least I'm getting my homework in as of right now, but definitely a lot more well-informed with this franchise that I'm really liking so far. Another movie I recently caught up on was a movie that came out, I think, in 2013, 2014, if I'm not mistaken. It's called Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. I remember that name back then, but I kind of wasn't really into most of those actors at that time. Now I know who they are, and they've been in some of my movies that I like. So I was like, you know what, this retro trailer popped up of a movie that came out a decade ago, and I've never seen it, so let's just take a chance. So I put that in the pile, and it was selected today. And yeah, overall, I did enjoy it. It's basically about a guy who's an outsider in high school. He basically only grew up with one main friend, never really delved into multiple, like try to get more people to like him. He was just cool with the one friend from the beginning, and he always just tried to be cool with like the jocks and everyone else to kind of like just stay low and not get noticed, and kind of try to get through high school as well as he could. But then the dying girl part comes in here because one of their classmates in his school. Apparently she gets like stage 4 leukemia and basically has to stay home and get all the, it's not cryotherapy, the chemotherapy. And yeah, sadly loses her hair and goes through all this stuff, and no one was really doing it, but his mom for some reason like forced him to like go and hang out with her and try to be like a person by her side, even though she was pretty standoffish at first and didn't really want anybody around. But they developed a pretty good friendship over like nearly a half a year, if not longer. And yeah, it goes up and down the movie as far as emotions, so I won't really say what ends up happening in the end. You kind of don't really expect it, but either way, I still think it's pretty well done. I even felt like the director, I don't think I really seen that director's work before, but he kind of felt like a Wes Anderson-ish, the way he's kind of moving the camera movements, and even like a Coen Brothers feel to it as well when it comes to like the director of photography aspect, the shooting of the movie. But overall storytelling, it is more of like the young adult type of version. I don't know if it's a book or not, but I thought it was a good overall story. It got pretty deep in certain spots and stuff, and a couple of good long takes as well, where the actors did pretty well. Kind of like a play where it played out for more than a couple minutes here and there, whether the camera moved or sometimes the camera just stayed there and kind of just had different people on the shot, and it still worked out pretty well, in my opinion, going on for a couple minutes. So I liked it overall. Definitely was pretty upset that I missed it back then, because I would have had a bit more time to enjoy this, but I would definitely watch it again just to check out more of the aspect of filmmaking and kind of see how the story went as well, because I did thoroughly enjoy it. But yes, pretty up and down roller coaster. Pulls at your heartstrings here and there, so get ready to feel something, all you non-feelers out there. And today I was finally able to, with the family, to go and see that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie. I want to say it's like 10 plus movies in that series. It's definitely quite a bit, but yeah, I haven't still seen a lot of those older ones, but hopefully I will be able to in the near future at some point. But yeah, this one was really awesome. I think definitely some of the best when it comes to visual effects and all the digital stuff. I mean, there are times when it looks so freaking real that I don't know how they do it, but I think it's like Weta down there. They're pretty much like the ILM of Australia. They work on like a lot of the Lord of the Rings or Avatar movies and stuff, so they're really good at their job. They did some really good stuff in here, especially with a lot of like unknown people. There are a couple people that pop up here, like William H. Macy's in the movie, and I think the actor playing the main villain, I've seen him. He's like a good character actor in a lot of movies. But yeah, overall that was definitely a very menacing villain. It's pretty much like many generations after the trilogy with Caesar that came out within the past decade or so, and then so you can kind of just watch it on its own because it's like way into the future, and he meets like this one lady, this one human, and all of a sudden he doesn't know what to do, and his tribe gets attacked and stuff, so then he tries to go and free them, but then this like human continues to follow him, and he meets up an orangutan friend on his way to there, and they both kind of end up hanging out and taking care of the human eventually when she's cool, hanging out closer to them. And then it's basically like her using them eventually, because she ended up, at first she was like non-speaking, and then she was able to speak, and then kind of wondering why, because in that franchise, once the humans were infected, they weren't able to speak, so they kind of like reversed back instead of being what they were, dominant over the apes. But yeah, the apes obviously got way smarter and stronger many generations later, and they kind of use like Caesar as like a godlike figure or Jesus-like figure, but the ones that are kind of running stuff now, they kind of do it pretty like bad in his name, so they're not really following exactly what he said, and they're kind of more like humans are the villains, and obviously that wasn't his way of speaking, and like don't hurt other apes and all that stuff. They're definitely hurting other apes, which sucks. But yeah, overall, definitely very enjoyed this movie. It was almost like it felt like 10 times it was going to end off like on a cliffhanger, I'm glad it doesn't. So if you're like worried about that, but it definitely seems like they're setting up for another trilogy run. So hopefully this movie made as much money to be able to continue this story. I think they should be able to, because there's like a lot of unknown people playing the apes and stuff, and I still thought they did a really good job too. So Andy Serkis definitely helped out a bit, but yeah, definitely well directed. The photography looked amazing. The acting was really good as well, so I would definitely recommend this one. If it's still in theaters, to go in spirits it that way, because it was definitely very awesome and great time, especially in the movie theater. But if not, then definitely check it out once it goes on stream. And to finish off this YouTube movie TV show review video, I think it looks like a couple of the stars from that TV show I Love the Boys recently said both Laz Alonso, who plays Mother's Milk, and Homelander, the main baddie, Anthony Starr, they both said that they would love the idea of, because the story kind of leaves on a cliffhanger in season 5, not this season but the next season, which is supposed to be the final one, but then they all come back and do some type of movie where it kind of officially ends the story, which I don't know if it would go into theaters, just because Amazon already does premiere stuff. Even if it is a popular movie, sometimes they'll just premiere it on their platform, Amazon Prime. But either way, that would be pretty awesome, just to get a different feel of what it could look like as a movie, because I don't know if they would just do it like how they normally do, where it's an hour-long episode every single time, and it's just an hour-long movie, or they might extend it a little bit longer and make it a couple parts, which would be pretty awesome. So, yeah, hoping for the best in this situation. Maybe we'll get it, because they don't really say anything unless somebody's been talking to them, so maybe that's the case. And yes, the final movie review for this video is going to be about that older movie. I forget, I saw the year too. It was probably in the 80s. I could be wrong, but it was the original Silence of the Lambs, starring Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster and all those pretty good character actors in there as well that I've seen before. But of course, I always heard it was a scary movie, so I was pretty much a wimp growing up, so I never watched it. But I kind of like those thriller type of horror. It's definitely more of a thriller, but a lot of people kind of use him like along with some of the great horror icons out there, Hannibal Lecter and Anthony Hopkins' character. But overall, I did enjoy it thoroughly. I know they have a TV show with Mads Mikkelsen that ran for quite a bit, and he's a pretty good evil actor too, so I might check that out in a bit. And I think there were a couple sequels too after this one. I'll definitely watch those eventually. We'll see if my stuff gets picked, or maybe I'll just watch it by myself. But yeah, overall, thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a little bit long, especially for the type of material that it is, kind of like mystery, but you know, her talking with the psychotherapist that killed people, or actually ate people, same thing I guess, but yeah, trying to figure out her own mystery or case and stuff. And yeah, it's pretty crazy how it ended. Obviously, it's almost like at least a 30, almost 40-year-old movie, so it's like hard to say I'm spoiling something if I'm talking about it. If you haven't seen it yet, then you probably aren't going to see it, but I still will keep the surprise towards the end for you. But yeah, I thought it was a nice twist there, and everything did pretty well, so I thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, like I said, I will be hopefully checking out those rest of the sequels if I'm not that much of a wimp. I was able to get through this one, no big scare, so I probably will continue. So thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below, let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.